All right. I think everything's working now. Let's see here. I see the little lights moving up and down, so you can hear my voice. I see my mug on the screen, so I think we're good. Give me a 5 by 5 if you can hear and see my voice. See me and hear my voice. That'd be great. Thank you everyone for showing up tonight on a Saturday night. This is my dojo, and it is open for anyone to come in to have a conversation. Sometimes I have guests. Sometimes I just open the entire show to whoever and whatever direction the show goes into. Typically, I have one rule, and it is to the golden rule, and treat other people with respect. So treat others as you want to be treated, and that's the only rule I have. I'm pretty stern on that, and so because this is the one place I want. I don't care what your ideas are, even if they're crazy. That I don't even if I don't agree with them, I'm still going to treat you with respect to give you the floor and have a conversation with y'all. Okay. So that being said, it's cold. It's cold as fuck right now. I don't know where you guys are at, but it's like 5 degrees or some shit like that. It's crazy. It's crazy with the wind chill. It's crazy right now. But hey, it's winter. What do you expect, right? So I am your host, Justin, aka Warrior of the Garden, and you are in my dojo. I do have a guest coming on. I'll be sending him the link here very shortly, and then once we have a conversation and gets what says needs to be said, I will be dropping the link in all the different chats that I have open here, and that way y'all can come in and tell me what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you thought about the conversation, if you want to add to it or take away, whatever it might be. Um, it's cool with me, all right. But I kind of like having a guest of like one or two, and then open it up for the panel afterwards. It allows it kind of confines the chaos of running a podcast, running a show, and then watching the chats as well. And it gets confusing. It can get kind of hectic after a while. So that's why I'm limited down to short amount, very few people on the panel at first, and then I open it up to others at the end. So I like the format. It's not always going to be the format, but tonight it is. So let me go ahead. I do want to get a lot of people out here tonight. I want to thank all y'all for being here. Let's do a roll call real quick, and because we got Zombie 5, Miss 320. She's over there on D Live. How you doing? Welcome in. Appreciate it. I got Mark Schumann. I haven't seen you in a while, bud. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much for your time. I want to make one thing perfect clear on all the platforms that I'm broadcasting to, is that I don't do this for money. I don't do this for cash. I don't do this for anything than to try to help people. All right, that's my only goal to do is when I have these shows. That being said, the only thing I require and that they ask of you to like the show, hit that thumbs up or whatever, the plus sign or whatever it might be on your platform, and then like and share the program. Share the show out. That's it. That's all I ask. And because I want to get more people in here involved with the art of conversation. It's a dying art. I'm trying to revive it. There isn't enough of this open conversation. I mean, when I say open conversation, I mean, if I disagree with you 100% on it, I still want you to come in here and speak your piece. I'm okay with that. Not a lot of their content gatekeepers can say that. So, but see here, we got somebody 5 already said that. You guys have been banned. How you doing, Kristen? How you doing? Welcome in, General Samuel Fields. What's up? What's up? What's up? In the bush. How you doing? Zombie Salty. How you doing? What's going on? And see, you guys have been a lot. G Dog. What's up? Chops. How you doing? Mr. Zhao. How you doing, buddy? What's up? What's going on? Welcome in. Let's see here. You guys are going crazy in the chat there for a minute. And then all the other people on the other channels too. If I see the numbers out there, thank you for being here. You're lurking your time. Your time is the one thing that's valuable to me, and it's a one currency. All of us have a very limited amount, and y'all chose to spend it here tonight with us, having a conversation. So thank you very much. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get this bad mamma jamma going here, and I gotta get everything over here because this is the way it goes. Everything's backwards on this one. Oops, wrong button. Wrong button here. That's what I want. Right here. Come on. No. Sign in. I need to sign up for free. I want to host a host. There it is. Opens a meeting. Boom. I hope you're all doing okay out there. Yeah. So I do need to do this. So I have to deactivate my camera. Deactivate. There it is. And then I have to. Which one is it? I will figure it out here in a second. You can still hear me. There it is. There it is. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. I like that sizing. We'll stay with that for right now. All right. Why is it? I clicked the don't remind me and hit close, and it still reminds me. Still reminds me. So, we'll get this off here real quick. Hurry. Real quick in a hurry. Jeez. My fingers are not working right. There it is. Okay. And paste. Okay, so, alright, that is the link that's sent out to my guest. And whenever, I'll go ahead and text him right now. What's up, Sage? How you doing? Welcome in. There it is. Okay, cool. Well, we've had lots of activities that has happened this week for sure. I think it's the last week, still kind of lingering over to this week, as far as shootings, the activity of that. Whether you agree with it or you don't, a mother of three is their children are no longer going to see their mother. So there has to be that little bit of empathy toward another human life. So, beyond that, thank you, Sage, very much. Appreciate it. Not necessary, but I do appreciate the cookie. Awesome. And Spazzo, yeah, what's up, bud? Welcome in. I see you in there. I see you sneaking in. Chat is just going crazy right now. I love it. I love it. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Okay, all right. My guest has showed up. Mr. G.I. Wingnut, are you there? I bet he's getting stuff together in the background. I can turn my tablet off. I don't need that.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. How you doing, brother?
I made it.
All right, all right.
So
Fantastic.
let's see. I need.
Whose mic level is low?
It might be my mic placement. I was sitting back a little bit. Um,
Because you sound fine in my headset.
oh, okay.
But that's not to say that, you know, that other people out
Right.
there can't hear you properly. So, okay.
True.
So who did the bush? Who needs to go up?
Do what?
I do. I needed to be turned up a little bit here. Okay, my
Oh,
microphone
okay.
needs to be turned up a little bit. Oh, we don't need to. That would be through OBS setting here. Okay. All right. That's better, I think.
Look at
the background.
Oh, yeah. Amy likes your background. She says you look like you're actually in the garden.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I made it myself. Yeah, I'll show you. It actually says WITG right there.
WID. Yeah,
Yeah, WITG.
WID.
Yeah,
We're in
we're
the
in the
garden.
garden. So, yeah, I made it myself through Leonardo.ai, and I pay for that art program, and it's a lot of fun. And they've been doing a lot of updates, so now I can make short little video memes and stuff, and it's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm paying for that I haven't used yet. I gotta get into it. But anyways, all right, good sir. Are you guys staying warm over there in your area of the woods?
Currently it's 18 degrees. I'm not sure what the wind chill is, but I woke up to snow flurries this morning, about 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
There was just a pretty good dusting on the ground. It cleared up, and then there was like some light flurries after that. But it's been pretty darn chilly around here.
Yeah, it has. You know, it's what's that season called?
Winter.
Winter. Yes, winter. That's right. I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Winter
Yeah.
finally caught up with us because it's been really warm. And I was like,
Well,
this,
last couple of years, 2 3 years has been that way. Where our
yeah,
winter didn't actually start until late December, early January. So our winters have gone from November, December, January, February down to just half of December maybe, and then
Right.
January, February for sure.
Well, I remember being a kid back in the 70s, growing up down there in Southwest Missouri. And we had a snowstorm blow through, and it dumped 18 inches of snow on us in less than 24 hours. Shut our little town down for a week.
Yeah, yeah. Where's that snow go? Nowhere.
Right, right. But we don't have those sort of snowstorms anymore. Not like that.
The let's see here. I think the last time we had a snowstorm like that was in 2018, 2019
Right.
winter. Yes, and it dumped 18 inches on us in less than 36 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big fat snowflakes too, not the small dusty stuff. No, it accumulated and it shut Columbia down
Right.
real fast.
Well, I was listening to Max Velocity this morning because it looks like our country's is or the weather's set up to hammer the country pretty hard with like three Arctic blasts in the next week. It's just like that's brutal for somebody like me who deals with fibromyalgia
Oh
and
yeah.
barometric sensitivity and does not like cold.
No, no, I'm right there with you. I prefer to be a consistent temperature if at all possible.
Right,
But when it's not, it's the for me it's a massive temperature swings, the 30, 40 degree temperature swings, and then
right.
that's just insane. It's crazy.
It
Um,
is.
but anyways, all right, enough of this small stop, this weather warfare. I think you're right, Mark. I think you're right. Something's going on. Something's going on. So
I think, well, we can talk about that another time because that's not what we're here to talk about
no,
tonight.
no,
Here
that's a different conversation
right, right.
altogether.
That's a whole nother conversation.
All right, so we are here tonight to talk about the reason why we walked away from MAGA. I don't think there's been a lot of accusations. There's been a lot of name calling. There hasn't been enough understanding of why people like myself, GI Wingnut, and many others have walked away from the MAGA movement because the people in the MAGA movement have not taken the time to fully understand why we have. They just think
Right,
now we're a bunch of liberals. I'm like,
right.
no, that's not me. Just because I walked
Well,
away from Republican doesn't make me a liberal.
right, exactly, exactly. It just means you got morals. You
Right,
know,
right. When
in
there's
fact,
second fiddle says MAGA walked away from me. That's a concept right there.
it is. I mean, when I started looking at things towards my exit, I was realizing how much further right the whole movement was moving than I was willing to go. And so I kind of had to curve away. But I want to kind of start the conversation with like a personal foundational question.
Okay.
What denomination of church did you grow up in?
Well, I didn't really
Or
grow up in one, but I
which
did.
one
I
was
I did go to. I went to a Methodist. I went to First Baptist, and I also was at an Assembly of God church for a few years, and I went to the school that they had
okay?
for
So
fifth and sixth grade is what I did.
okay. My dad tried to ship me off to an Assemblies of God run Christian academy for high during high school.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I was from the age of 10 to 18, I was deeply active in Royal Rangers, and we were incredibly active in the Assembly of God Church.
Yep. Yep.
And that's actually a really important point as far as where we grew up, because the church has changed a lot since we were younger.
I can only tell you about when was the last time I went to church? 2000, 2003, I think.
Right.
2003 is the last time I went to church. So I've been in church in 20 some years. So,
Well, I personally haven't graced the doors of an Assembly of God church since 1989.
okay. Yeah.
Because they would not allow me to get remarried. They wouldn't bless me getting remarried, even though I had divorced my first wife for infidelity. Since she was still alive, they wouldn't condone me getting remarried. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, you can stop thinking about it.
Okay,
So
don't hurt my head.
so anyway, I was just like, that's when I got my first because I knew that was going to be the answer, but I was hoping that maybe it wasn't going to be the same
Right.
hard line, and
Yeah.
of course it was. And then if you watch how Ken Copeland has progressed over the years, and some of his associates, you can see how we got from grifter Jim Baker, who went to prison for fraud, and Jim and Tammy Faye, that the air conditioned doghouse. Okay, somehow we got from that in the 70s and early
Yeah.
80s to whatever this nightmare is now.
To multiple for G5 airplanes and mega McMansions and
Right.
multiple
And
sexual cover-ups and
one of the reasons that I wanted to bring denomination into it is because that actually plays a key factor into a lot of exit stories. Like Jenny Gage, she does Live Take Two on YouTube, right? She's got a testimonial on leaving MAGA. She was a Mormon trad wife, all about having nothing but white
oh
babies. So now she looks
yeah,
back and she's like, I was a eugenicist. She was all into MAGA. When they were living in Alabama, she actually wore a Confederate flag, Alabama State pin with her cross. Now she's an atheist feminist fighting against MAGA. She's part of the leaving MAGA crew like I am.
that's
But she
interesting how
but she went from trad wife Mormon to fundamentalist Christian to fuck all this shit.
yeah that's a very interesting because from the outside looking in, uh, it's it's very uh, it without people understanding the thinking process and why we walked away. It looks extreme from the outside, from people who are still they're still chained to the floor. Because I always use Plato's allegory of the cave on basically everything I do now because it's the most fitting analogy that I can think of, fitting story people can grab onto and read chapter 7 and of Plato's Republic. Go for it, people. Okay, encourage you to read some of these ancient philosophies that have been around for 2,000 years and they still work today. They're still spot fucking on today.
Yeah.
So I just lost my train of thought here
but,
because there's a lot to
but
it's a lot to unravel really to for this entire thing to go because inevitably we saw something or we felt something that was just hold on, like that's off, that there's a everybody has a moment where they stop in their tracks and they go, this doesn't look right, whatever I'm looking at does not look right, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't feel right, something is telling me because inevitably what happens after you walk away from one movement or another or one cult or another, you're left with this emptiness, you're left
right,
with this, do I either a go and try to find a different cult or do I go and I try to find something that actually is tangible to me.
right.
So
Well,
go ahead.
one of the first things that started making me start looking around were personal feelings, personal physiological
Right.
responses to things that were going on around me. And having survived domestic violence, there were things that were starting to trigger some of that trauma. And I didn't know what was going on. So thankfully I was in therapy and I had a therapist that I could turn to and go, "Hey man, what's going on here?" And he's like, you remember that conversation we had like 4 years ago?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Can you connect the two?"
Now it's happening.
"Oh, okay." So once I started processing that I was having a reaction to what was going on, I realized I didn't want to be part of it anymore. But that's just like the first pinprick.
Yeah, it's not a there is there's a process that leads up to the moment where we're like, okay, I'm washing my hands, I'm done with this table, I'm moving away. And that for those of us that have walked away, that is different from each aspect. For me, it was a couple years ago when I saw that there was, especially in the middle of 2023, I just saw this upwelling of a lot of NFTs, a lot of AI art being done, where Trump was being hoisted upon this pedestal, upon
Oh
this
yeah,
like,
that homoerotic
yeah, like
He-Man art.
this
Yeah,
it was like they were making him look like a king, like Jesus was hugging him. They're putting him on a prematurely. What I was seeing on social media was, and again, who knows if these accounts are real or not. I was seeing this pushing this man onto a pedestal and trying to deify him right
yeah,
away before there was even before the presidential campaign season had even started. So I just thought
yeah.
to myself, okay, this is weird. And so I observed some people and I made some comments on various platforms and stuff. I wanted, because I was gauging to see what people's responses were, and I had this feeling in my gut. I was like, this isn't right. This is wrong. I can't put my finger on it, but my gut is telling me that this is fucking wrong, and I don't know what to do. So what I did is I took 2 months off. It was supposed to be 2 weeks, turned into 2 months. I came back in the first part of 24, and I then started watching. I mean, when I say I detoxed from the news, I didn't watch any news at all. I watched, the closest news I got was with the weather app on my phone. That was as close as the news as I got. Beyond that, I was doing taking the dogs to the park, reading, doing anything I could do to not to watch the news. So at that point, when I came back, and I was completely detoxed from it, all of it. Came back and I was like, you know what? I want to see what the temperature is. I'm just gonna observe for a little bit. I'll put on, do some of my stupid shows, and I'll observe to see what's going on around the atmospheres, around the different social platforms, how people are speaking to those that they're not, or they're typing, not really speaking, they're typing to those who disagree with them. So that required me to go into chats, to watch people in live shows, go into comments, see how are people responding, and I saw this very negative way of talking down to people from MAGA specifically. And I thought to myself, I scratched my head, I said, man, this sounds a lot like the left. This is sounding in their rhetoric, the way they put down people. And then, you look at Trump, the cult leader, and he has these nicknames. So he dehumanizes someone before he even acknowledges they're a person. So I can give GI Wingnut a nickname, and then I would call him by that nickname only. And that's this
Right,
whole
right.
that's a point to continuously downplay your enemies. It's a tactic that's being used, and I saw a lot of that being repeated by gatekeepers on multiple platforms. So then I started, but during this entire process of the 2 months detoxing, after 2 weeks of basically trying not to scratch that itch for 2 weeks. I mean, like, hey man, you got any more news? Hey man, it was bad. It was bad. So I went ahead and after a couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm fine now. And then I started questioning things, just thinking about stuff. And I realized very, very quickly, I was like, man, I don't really know a whole lot. Like the things that I thought I knew, that this movement I thought was supposed to be the right one, I've got this big, lead ball in my stomach saying otherwise. And so
Right.
and so after I had done detoxing, I started diving into the information. I started diving into research, and then I started coming up with a whole bunch because I was truly trying to figure out who was in charge and what was in charge. And so that led me down an entire pathway of X, Y, and Z, and then trying to find the associations of those people and why General Flynn, a big one of the big questions I was asking first with a lot of truthers who I thought were in the know. And this is what really solidified me walking away, is that when I was asking questions, like for example, why in 2021, November 2021, did General Flynn pray in a church in Nebraska the seventh ray occultist prayer Why did he say that? Why did he not sing? Why did he not actually
Okay,
pray, bow his head, and close his eyes and pray to his creator?
that's funny that you should bring that up because I ran across that clip from the other direction. It's when I was doing my comparative cult studies, trying to figure out, okay, well, what does this group believe compared to that group?
Right.
Trying to figure out, where my core is, and just trying to untangle everything.
Yeah.
And when I hit Elizabeth Clare Prophet, as soon as I hit Elizabeth Clare
Yep.
Prophet, that Mike Flynn thing popped up. I'm like, oh man, really?
Yeah, yeah, and and so when I saw that, and then I saw Paula White in the first as his spiritual advisor in the first administration, I got to think to myself, this is not a guy. This isn't who he is. Not who he says he is,
Right.
and that just led me down. So I started asking questions,
Well,
because I'm like, hey,
hang on,
did you
hang
hear
on.
about this? Shut down, shut down. You're a fucking idiot. Go sit down.
Out,
Go ahead.
out of curiosity, did you ever have any conversations with anybody about the direct link between Paula White and Donald Trump, and in reference to Trump's conversion?
Conversion to Judaism.
No, conversion to Christianity.
I mean,
I'm using this term loosely.
yeah, you got to use quotations on this, my friend. You go quotations,
Conversion
Christianity.
to Christianity. It's
Yeah,
Paula White. I mean, come on now. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah, I addressed that whole thing with my dad, and he pulled that whole evangelical maneuver. Oh, well, Trump is just a baby Christian. He's going to mess up.
No, no.
And bear in mind, I grew up directly under King Copeland's teachings. My dad would drive an hour to Joplin, Missouri, to go listen to King Copeland live, while I went over to the youth church in the New Life Academy that was adjacent. It was a nightmare. Looking back on it, it was all a nightmare.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
yeah.
learned a lot of good skills from the Royal Rangers. Don't get me wrong. I learned a
Well,
lot
yeah.
of
It's just like the Boy
survival
Scouts, but
skills.
more God emphasized. More Bible emphasized. That's it.
But see, yeah, but you got to remember the
Well, I
Assemblies
guess
of God,
brainwashing, not really Bible, just more
the Assemblies of
brainwashing.
God, the motivation between the Boy Scouts and the Royal Rangers are very different. With the Boy Scouts, it's about social interaction. With the Royal Rangers, it's about surviving doomsday.
I see. And looking back at it, I didn't even catch up on it. Like when I was in the fifth grade, just sixth grade. When I was looking back on it, I was like, this is something for me to do on a Wednesday night, so I don't have to sit in a pew. That's kind of how I was looking at it. I was like, this is kind of cool. We get to play with
Oh,
stuff,
well,
But then
okay.
like they
Well,
told
see,
us they would teach. The thing is I was never. I enjoyed the activity of it, but I never really got into the actual biblical teachings of it.
okay, here's where things differentiate for you and me on the Royal Ranger experience. My dad was area commander.
Well, that's a little bit different. Yeah.
My dad, or regional commander rather, became area commander and then became regional commander. And when I joined the Frontiersmen's Camping Fraternity, I was at our first gathering. Immediately after my initiation, I was voted assistant scribe, which meant I was supposed to sidekick with my dad all over southern Missouri.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, and we didn't get out of our area down. We didn't get out of our little corner. We should have been up in St. Louis and Kansas City and all the way over in Sikeston, West Plains. We should have been all over the southern portion of the state. My dad was supposed to be an organizer for that whole region, but he was wrapped up at work.
Huh.
Anyway, it's a whole nother thing. But yeah, it I was expected to excel in his shadow.
Interesting.
And then I went off to the Air Force. And when I came back, the divorce happened. That disqualified me from membership in the church.
Well, there you go. There it is. Yep. There it
And
is.
then Dad and Fox News, and yeah, I haven't talked to Dad in a while.
Well, yeah. Well, Fox News is a whole different. It's state media propaganda.
Yeah.
So let's
Hey,
just be honest.
that video link you dropped me from Midas Touch,
Oh, with you in it.
yeah, with
Yeah.
myself, Rich Logist, having that chat.
Yeah.
I peeked on it a while ago.
How many views?
250,000,
Quarter million views. Nice.
250,000 views,
Nice.
lots of interaction, and just loads and loads of support. lots and lots and lots of positive feedback. In fact, one individual even suggested that they felt I was intelligent enough and articulate enough that Midas Touch should put me on Fox News. I'm like, that would melt my dad's brain.
That melts a lot of
Huh?
people's brains.
Huh? Oh yeah. Um, because of the fact that things are really starting to take off for me, and because of the fact that with my connections to leaving MAGA and being part of the Midas Touch Network family, which is my girlfriend has set up a GoFundMe to get money together for me to get new teeth.
Is that what
Man,
that link was you sent me? I haven't
yes,
checked it out yet.
yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, she figured it would help me get the message across a little more aesthetically. And it
Yeah.
might help with my articulation, even though I do pretty good. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, any little bit can help a little bit. You know,
right
any little bit. So
now,
that's awesome.
I will admit I also did learn, and it didn't shock me. There's a lot of warm people on the left hand side of things, that vote blue. But there are some individuals over there that can be rather bitter. They weren't harsh with their words, other than I can't forgive you. I will never forgive you. You made this all, without considering that, yeah, okay, you're suffering, but you don't think it
There's
doesn't
gonna
affect
be
me
that no matter
too.
what you do. If a person from the left
But
goes to the right or vice versa.
but the positive feedback and the moral support. There were people that were like, look, you listen to his story. He had a lot to untangle. 10,000 hours of research in 3 years is no slouch when it
No,
comes to
it isn't.
programming. And so, despite what people might think, and that's what's made it a really soft landing and growth period for me in the last year and a half, is I have a lot of progressive friends that aren't necessarily super liberal. Some of them are more liberal than others, but progressive thinking, help your neighbor kind of Christians
Uh huh.
and humanists. And it's been good. It's been good.
Imagine
It's
that.
not scary out here.
No, no. Imagine that people who have a different political view can actually are people. You know, it's so both sides are guilty of this, and because this is the way the system is designed, and this is why I find both political sides equally worthless in my mind, is that you have the far right, the far left, and when you listen to both of them, they're exactly the same. One has a blue hat on, one has a red hat on, and anybody who's actually is intellectually or sorry is being intellectually honest with this, they can look at it and go, yeah, they both are the same rhetoric. They both are terrible against each other. They both are super zealots when it comes to their political status ideas, and they're both terrible. So I'm more of inclined to like, all right, everybody is a person. There's like I said before, giving people a nickname dehumanizes them.
Right.
Talking down to them and shouting them down all over a keyboard is to me is worthless. You can do it. You can write 5 paragraphs or something, but I can say the same exact thing in 30 seconds, and it'll weigh a hell lot heavier than if somebody writes a 5 paragraph response to something I said or a post that I
Right.
did. And
Right.
this the it came from the left first. I think it did. Excuse me. Or oh, you're on the right. I can't even talk to you. Oh, you're just I just the whole attitude. Oh, just whatever. Just go away. I can't even look at you. I'm so just irritated by you. So now
Right.
we have the same mentality on the right. MAGA, same way. What do?
Yep.
They dehumanize you. They of course they're speaking the same rhetoric as their heroes and as their cult leader. So it's not surprising the same way on the left. If you're being honest with yourself, you can see these patterns on both sides, and it's designed for that. It's designed to keep people disassociated with it, or completely black pilled completely, which I'm not black pilled completely. I still have hope for
Yeah.
people. That's why I have a show called
Yeah.
X the Cave, and I go back into it trying to help people get out of Plato's cave. So that was my
Well, it's
reaction when I figured it out. Like when I stepped away from MAGA, and I like completely said I'm done with this. Both sides are stupid to me. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing politics anymore. I'm not going to put any more energy into this unless I have to. This is dumb. And so I was like, I got to find my way out. And during my journey, I found the allegory of Plato's cave, and I said, holy crap, this is exactly what I'm going through right now. And so then and it was exactly when I found my way out of the cave finally is when I found the allegory of Plato's cave. And I was like, holy shit, I do want to go back and help people. I do
yeah.
want to listen to people. I do want to try to revive the other conversation. I do want to have conversations with people who do not like me at all, and they have zero shred of humanity for me. I still want to have a conversation with those people because I guarantee you there's going to be one thing we can agree on. But I want, but I my olive branch is always extended, and
Yeah.
even though it's cut up and chewed up and put through the wood chipper and all that kind of shit, and so I got another one. Here you go. I got another one.
Right.
Here you go. Have this one. Munch on this one a little bit. I got another one. So it's to me almost like a killing with kindness, in a way where it's like I understand where you're coming from. I understand the fact that you guys pretending to be smart because you're memorizing the shapes on the wall, but never asking the question of what's casting the fucking shadow.
Right.
Never asking that question, but just sounding really smart because you can memorize the next two shapes that are coming up. That's how I
That
see it.
that actually reflects on a couple of different interactions I had in the comments underneath that video. One, somebody just jumped to the conclusion that I'd always been a Trump voter, and that I would vote for him for, fourth time. And I'm like, whoa, 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 hold up. I didn't know that he was running for in the 2000 campaign. I was unaware of it. Yes, I voted for him in 16 and in 20, but I voted for Harris in 24. And they were like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions. That is how people get irritated." And then somebody else come at me sideways about church affiliation. Now, the church that my girlfriend plays the pipe organ for is an ELCA church. They're a progressive church. Some might call them a social justice congregation or denomination. But this person that was interacting with me was thinking I was still thinking with that charismatic evangelical mindset. And they're
Mm,
telling me I'm getting it all wrong. My church, I'm like, wait a minute, what denomination are you talking about? Because I'm talking about the ELCA. They're a social justice denomination, which is the antithesis of where I grew up. And they just shut up because they didn't think to bring in that denominational question. They jumped to conclusions. They were presuming that because I
well,
used to think a certain way.
right, and that's what. Well, even that example right there, we see it on the proverbial right because we stepped away from MAGA. You decided to go do your own thing, which is fine. I have no problem with that. You just you're on your own path, and that's cool with me.
Right.
I didn't. I stopped the politics. I'm like I'm not going to associate myself with either side because I'm looking at both sides and going this either side is not good for me. It's not good for the people around me. It's not good for the people in my
Right.
neighborhood. It's not good for my
Well,
people in my town. So when I did
and
that, I was like,
that's
I'm serious, like hard line meat cleaver chop. That's kind of how I deal with stuff. All right.
right. Well, when it comes to the whole politics thing of everything, I tend to throw people off because I am an agnostic humanist. But because of where I grew up, I understand what evangelicals say. Somebody's like, well, have you ever read the Bible? Well, where I grew up, we were required to follow a plan that made us read the Bible the full Bible within a year.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was a requirement in my youth group. So I've read it cover to cover at least 8 times.
Right. So there's that level of presumptuousness or
Yeah.
assumption is a good one where and then it happens for a lot of people. I'm guilty of assuming
Yeah.
with certain things too until
Yeah.
you actually have a conversation with someone then an assumption only makes an ass out of you. Not to say
Right.
you and me, but just out of ass out of you. So, but when I, you know, part of walking away too, it's not easy to do this. This isn't a look at me, we're so strong. And no, no, we listen to our gut, we listen to our heart, we listen to the spirit, we listen to the
Right.
Creator, whatever it is whatever y'all worship out there. We decided that this was not for us, and
And
and everybody,
right.
and a lot of people I've come to come. There's been a few people I've come to contact with who were MAGA. A lot of a lot of big podcasters who used to be MAGA. They've walked away completely. They're like, this is not the movement for me, and they've gone through their own journey, you know,
Right.
and so and there's not a it's not a bad thing for people to walk away from a political movement. It isn't bad at all. It's actually a good thing because now you're stepping out of the echo chamber and you can hear for the first time. You can really hear yourself talk. You can hear yourself think. You can listen to other messages. You can start to unravel the propaganda in your head. Once you've here's my big thing. Another big thing too is I have two big things that I speak from experience: exiting the cave and addiction. All right,
Right.
suffered from it. All right, still suffer from it. It's one of those things where it never really goes away. It's always there in the back of your mind, the back burner. But you learn to control it. So when I was in depths of my addiction, I had to realize that, like, okay, shit, I'm crushing up my pills, I'm snorting them, and I'm chasing it down with whiskey. This is not good. You have those moments of clarity, moments of sobriety in your time of being all jacked up in the head and stuff. That's the same way, almost the same way when you're walking away from a political movement, because you start to, when you're in the movement or in a cult or in a drug induced environment, that's who you become. You become whatever you are in the echo chamber that you're in. You inevitably slowly start to become that thing. And it's not a dig at anybody. It's just a natural thing that happens. So that's why I say step away from the echo chamber. Be your own person. Have your own thoughts. Stop. Detox your mind from the propaganda. The same way, and I've done a whole show on this, and I've showed you guys charts and shared articles and all kinds of stuff. When we talk about addiction, and this could be political addiction, getting your news. This could be coffee. This could be your soda during the day. This could be sex. This could be porn. This could be actual hardcore drugs or alcohol. It could be any addiction. Okay, any addiction there is out there. Your brain lights up in the exact same way every single time. Because why? It's because your pleasure center, your hypothalamus, excretes one of the most addictive substances on this realm that we know of, as a dopamine. We produce it. We microdose ourselves when we would find things that make us happy. It's basic psychology, basic brain psychology. This isn't anything new. So it goes from, you have this little drop of dopamine, goes from the middle of your head to your frontal cortex, was in light. Then your senses are heightened. So then it goes through all the entire cerebral cortex, all the back of your brain, and lights it up in the exact same way. We microdose ourselves. And so when I say to detox from the news, that's what I mean. That's what I'm referring to, is that your brain, and the thing is that the people who put on the news, who have even on YouTube or whatever it is, whatever platform it might be, the science behind what they're doing, what type of background they have, how they run their show, the way they talk in their cadence, all that kind of stuff is designed to manipulate you in a certain way. Any of that stuff is.
And that's why I'm continuing. That's why I'm getting back to making videos and continuing stuff in my on my YouTube channel, GI Wingnut MAGA Apostate. I've got a developing playlist called Why I Left MAGA, and in that, what I'm doing initially is describing one character per episode. And so, like, I think it was episode 10, I did Greg Locke.
Oh, he's
And
he's a
so,
fun character.
oh, yeah. Well, I followed him up with Hank Kuhneman.
I don't know who Hank Kuhlman is. This is more your realm. I'm not familiar with all the names that you're,
Right.
you're dropping.
Right. So see, that's why I'm doing this work because people don't understand this undertone. Like Jenny Gage over at Life Take Two. She's talking about her experience from a Mormon perspective and how she was deeply active in what she did. And it's like I come from this whole other world.
Hmm.
And yeah, okay, so there's Peter Thiel in there and all that. But in the history of the world I come from, there's Jim Jones and there's the Billy Graham, J. Edgar Hoover tie. Not to mention the Billy Graham Operation Condor tie. Yeah. So
Wait. Operation Condor
yes, Billy Graham
with
and
Billy Graham.
Operation Condor.
Okay.
Yes. And don't forget that one of the funders, one of the financiers of Operation Condor was Robert Maxwell.
Oh my.
I have to introduce all these characters that people don't understand who they are. Like the other day, I made just a quick little update on my channel and just kind of some quick thoughts. And at the end, I made a comment about, and at some point, because I was talking a little bit about purity culture, teasing that I'm going to be talking about that. And it's like, but we'll get into that later, along with Mike Johnson taking his daughter to a purity ball and his covenant eyes deal with his son, where they monitor each other's porn.
Porn.
And somebody's like, I did not know that about Mike Johnson. I'm like, stick around. I got a whole lot to tell you. But on that Greg Locke video, somebody popped in and they're like, what's your point? You obviously don't understand how God, and you don't understand God's ways. To which I just asked them, when was the last time you read Matthew 25:31 through 40? No response.
Oh,
But, but I do have somebody that commented, I think it was on the Nixon, I think it was on my Nixon Part Two, which is a repost from another project I had worked on, 1952 in a planned deception. I just re-uploaded those for the Nixon explanation. I'm like, I've already done the work. Here you go. Right. Somebody popped in and they're like, hi, I'm MAGA. I'm here. I'm learning and I'm having fun. I'm more of a libertarian who embraced the ideas. And I'm like, I responded to him with, I was more of a libertarian before I got sucked in, before I was MAGA, but I got sucked in. Feel free to ask questions. So yeah, my numbers are slowly ticking up. People don't want to know these things because they don't understand how tightly interwoven this is
mm.
until they heard in my testimony that I had to deconstruct my theology and my politics simultaneously because they were so tightly twisted together. And
Well, it's true. It's true because if you look at, and that's one point I wanted to make earlier. If you look at um, MAGA, or if you look at the hardcore left people, Antifa, whatever. I don't know. Antifa is really the proper group
yeah,
to
I was
look
gonna
at.
say
I would
I
say
am
the
an
hardcore, the
anti-fascist.
hard, whatever the hard, yeah, because I truly am anti-fascist. I'm not Antifa, but
If
I
you're
I don't like
anti-fascist, you're Antifa.
fascists. Okay, I'm against fascists. Okay, so you want
Yeah,
to call me
that's what
Antifa, fine,
Antifa
whatever.
is.
Yeah, yeah. So, but now it's been taken over by whatever organization and whoever's paying them. Okay, so that's a different topic altogether.
Yeah, we can discuss
But
that some
part
other
of
time.
the much like in a church, like when you're growing up, and I can also attest to this too. At the time that I was being in church and when I was growing up in a church, is that you eventually you take on the identity of, like I was talking about that the dome where you don't have any other ideas, so you start your ideas are being formulated around whoever's the loudest. Well, there's no different when it comes to politics and people who are in a cult. And yes, I consider people who are hardcore MAGA people to be in a cult,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
they absolutely are. And so and I've already had a show where I proved to you guys that MAGA is a cult. I show this prime example. You can see it. You can see it on a daily. But yeah, the
I'm
thing is
gonna
that hold on, Jay. The thing is
yeah.
that when you get into that level of of brainwashing, you're not just being part of the group and following the group. You are taking on the identity of the group. You are losing yourself, and you are gaining in a way the ideology of the mass. And so once that acceptance has been there, and this happens politically as well, then you're going to be welcomed into those groups. But the moment you start questioning the cult leader, or you start questioning the actual theology, or anything within the system itself, and having logic, asking logical questions, that's when the people who are chained to the floor around you will start piping up. And when you start to stand up and say, hey, we're casting the shadow on the wall here. Oh, shut the fuck up, you don't know what you are, you're a traitor, you're a communist, you're a Muslim, you're so far on Pill platform I've been called a lot of personal names, but I've been called a communist, a Muslim, a traitor, and a fraud. And I'm like, this is coming from the hardcore MAGA right. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so keep it in perspective. It's like a 5-year-old telling you to go fuck off. You laugh because it doesn't mean anything, right? So all these defamatory words, they don't mean anything to me because there's no basis on it. It's all personal opinion. And
Right.
so when your personal opinion is coming in and calling me a bunch of names, well then get the fuck out of here. You got nothing to offer. When you have a conversation, then you can come talk to me. Until then, go kick rocks.
Right.
Even the Bible says, you'll test this. Even Jesus said, when people won't hear your message, what do? You dust off your sandals and you go to the next town.
Right.
And for a long time, I've been saying now that when I'm on Pilled or I'm on different channels, I'm not there for MAGA. I'm not there for Q. I'm not, because those people who are in those cults, they're not able. You're not able to, no matter what you say, you're not able to. Any information you present to them, even if you do a one, you take a string and you tie it around the first pin, and you tie it around the second pin, and then the third and the fourth, and you spoon feed them down this path. They're still not going to get it. They're not.
Right.
Why? It's because they don't want to. That's why. It's because they've learned a level of education, and they want to go no further.
Right.
And that's, to me, it's sad. It's
Well,
incredibly sad to see that.
it's because of the information control and the thought control that just goes inherently with any culty environment. You know, so many churches, so many churches will create a hostile environment if someone asks the preacher a question.
Uh huh.
You know,
Yes.
and so people learn not to ask questions.
Well,
And
especially the
then
way that
and
the
then
what is it, the new
because it's
NAR system set up? What is that? There's a new doctrine that church has been for almost 15 years now. They've been following, um, where the pastor is essentially the king of the church.
you're talking about that new that ARC policy
Yeah,
that I
the
shared
ARC
with you.
policy. Yes, yes. That's
Yeah,
that's what it reminds me. It's
because
kind of reminding me of now.
right, the ARC, the Association of Related Churches, is basically NAR light, or NAR being the New Apostolic Reformation. And a lot of folks don't really understand what's going on with that. That's why I'm going through and introducing all these different characters. Ken Copeland's my next video.
Oh boy, that'll be fun.
I'm trying to keep them relatively short, but I, just
It's
with
hard. There's so
fit,
much
fit,
information.
right, like I can't let Ken Copeland talk and give the prime points that I think expose the main factors to get people's attention with, and just 15 or 20 minutes giving some translation of what's being said along the way, because people who have never been in that environment don't understand the dialectics, and
Hmm.
they're like, oh, so that's why my work is starting to catch on, because I'm working as this translator. I'm trying to help explain the psychology, and how each of these individuals work and how it differs from others. And it's, yeah, reading the Bible for yourself is how a lot of folks get in trouble. Um, I just saw an article today about a guy that got arrested down in Arkansas. This was story was based out of was printed in KY3, which is Springfield, Missouri. Anyway, a dude down in Arkansas got busted for kitty stuff, and he was justifying it with the Bible. So
Yeah. No. No. There's um, that's where I draw a line on any religion, especially Muslims or Islam, and especially Judaism. When
there's
you know that when
there's a
they
lot of these
when
there's a lot of
when
these
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
there's a lot of these little Christian cults that lean towards biblical marriage, and it's just them trying to excuse plural marriage, multiple wives, polygamy. But there's this one guy out there. It's not polygamy, it's polygyny.
Polygyny.
Yeah, it's multiple women, not multiple wives, because you're only legally married to the first one. The rest of it is
So they're
this
just
underlying
concubines at that point.
marriage.
That's all they are.
Right. Essentially, yes.
I mean, it would make sense. It would be one thing biblically if you had a brother and you're still married and your brother died.
Right.
But we're talking about a time when they were still living out of tents, and we're
Yeah,
talking about a
exactly.
time where most women died of childbirth because they just bleed out.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we're talking about where somebody's taking a flock of sheep out and he doesn't come back because a wolf got him, sort of thing. Where death is imminent. On
Yes.
every day it's imminent. So to try and compare that to nowadays, to use that logic, stretching. That's a
Right.
far stretch, especially when it comes to pedophilia. It's very clear that pedophilia is wrong, no matter who you are. I don't care if it's love is love, no love is not love. When it comes to that kind of thing, if two adults want to do consensual things with each other, that's their own business. They're adults.
Right.
But if they're
Right.
not 18 or older, they're a child according to law, and
Right.
they need to be, in my personal opinion, if you're caught at pedophilia, you should just be burned at the stake. Let's just burn a couple pedophiles at the stake, and then I think it's going to send a very clear message to the rest of them. Or public hangings. I'm okay with that as well. Bring back a little capital punishment just for pedophiles, though, just for the
Just
pedophiles.
pedophiles.
But when
There,
I have a
there,
hard
there,
time. But when
there- there's there's a
I'm
whole lot of
sorry.
people there's a whole lot of people that I personally know that would push back against that.
And that's fine, and that's fine. I don't. I'm not going to follow any religion that okays, or I'm not going to follow anybody
Oh,
who
they're not
you know.
okay. They're not okay with it.
But I
They
mean,
just
what I'm saying is
not
that
okay with public
I
execution
can't be okay with anybody or any religion that says that is justifying pedophilia. Like Islam. Muhammad had a 12-year-old, 9 and 12-year-old wives. He also was
Well,
a
so did Warren Jeffs.
right, and but the thing is also you also have in Judaism as well. You can have
Yeah.
sex between the girl between the ages of 3 and 9 because they think that their hymen will just grow back like it's that they're getting poked with it to them, to the Jews. It was and it's in their Talmud. Okay, it's not the Torah. This is in the Talmud, which also if they you you got to question the ones that study out of the Talmud. Okay, because it's very very dark. There are passages in there where they're saying it is having sex with a girl from the ages of 3 to 9 is no different than poking them in the eye. They'll get over it. Their hymen will grow back and it's fine. Now, why they stopped at 9, I don't know. I mean, you're already. But the thing is that you have in Islam when the wife is on her period, it's okay to go have sex with something else. I've seen it
There's there are
myself. I've seen a man
there
have his way with a goat in the middle of
there's
the night.
there's there's certain orders within the Amish community where if they can't get it in the house, they go out to the barn. I'm not cool with that. Animals
No.
cannot consent. Animals cannot consent. Children cannot consent.
No.
And no,
No.
and no is the legitimate answer.
That's just wrong. Level of wrong is on all stratas of that.
Yeah,
It's just no, 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 no.
right.
You don't do that. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, I can't. I don't care how peaceful the religion is or this that. I'm just when I hear people say that kind of stuff, I'm like, okay, where is your level of morality then? Like,
Right.
do you think it's morally okay for an adult to go fuck a little girl or boy? Do you think that's moral?
I'm glad you brought up morality because that triggers a thought that I had earlier that slipped for a moment. Dietrich Bonhoeffer does not, and I love his analogy. He does not link stupidity to intelligence, but to morality.
Stupidity to morality?
Yeah. If you
Oh,
have no
interesting.
morals, if you have no morals, you're a stupid person.
Well, that's true because you can be an intelligent person and not have any morals.
Right. And so you could be an intelligent person and still be stupid.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of aspects that can probably. I bet there's lots of situations that if any of us stop and think about it, I think we can find that to be true. So, but yeah, it's hold on a second here. I'm sorry. Thank you, Dark State, for that donation. I do appreciate it. Not necessary, but I do thank you very much. Um, let's see here. Give us a little rundown. Your experience with the Midas Touch.
It's been really supportive. It's been less with the Midas Touch network itself and more actually with the Leaving MAGA organization.
Okay.
With you can find it online at leavingmaga.org or Leaving MAGA on YouTube. But Rich Logus and all the other leaders are former MAGA. And the guy that does the interviews and editorials, you read that article. That editorial was written up by a gentleman of the name Paul Glickman.
Paul Glickman. Okay.
He worked for NPR as an editor for over 4 decades and retired, and then came out of retirement to work on this project.
Wow. That's pretty
He's
cool.
he's the guy that does all their articles, and
Well,
they have quite a few up there.
that's awesome, and it's you know this us walking away from a political movement. It doesn't mean that we're and here's the low level, low IQ, and yes, I'm using these ad hominems. Yes, I'm using them. But it's simple minded and dull to think that just because I left one political movement means that I'm going to go join another one.
Right. My individuality has earned me the most freedom I've ever had.
Yeah,
And the reason I'm not walking away quietly is because I'm hearing people asking questions that aren't getting answered, that I have the answers to. And I've talked to people and they're like, dude, you've got insights that people need to hear. And the feedback that I'm getting is, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand better. Feed me more. They want to understand the psychology.
hmm,
So they're hungry to learn about all the different teachings and things. I mean, it's going to be really fun when I get to start talking about different conspiracy theories
for sure.
because I heard somebody talking about Candace Owens having a meltdown and they had no
Yeah,
idea.
I suppose so. Maybe.
They had no these liberal commentators, and I'm being fair because that's what they are. These liberal commentators, I rarely listen to them, but they were talking about this Candace Owens meltdown. I'm like, what does she melt down about now? Apparently, Charlie Kirk is a time traveler. She's an alien, and she started talking about Project Looking Glass, and these guys had
Yeah.
no idea. And I'm like, oh God, I'm just gonna have to jump in on that one like pretty darn soon. Oh, by the way, since Candace was talking about this and nobody knows what Project Looking Glass was, let me decipher that for you.
Well, we were learning about that shit 10 years ago.
I know.
We were, yeah,
But
because that's what a lot of the Q movement was trying to figure out a lot of these things, and and whatnot.
Exactly,
And now it's like, what
but
are
the
you guys
people on
doing?
the but the people on the outside are like, what is this? And I'm like, okay, let me translate.
Yeah,
Because
and that's
the people on the
yeah.
outside looking in are like, that's some batshit crazy stuff going on in there, and I can't figure it out. I'm like, I know.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I have Exit the Cave, is
Yeah,
because the show is more designed. So I'm not picking my nose here. I just have a mustache hair that just wants to go up in my nose. So it
yeah,
looks like
that's
I'm like,
annoying.
hey man, you got any more of that white stuff? Man, it's good. It's good, good, brother. No, but yeah, that's why I have Exit the Cave. Is because I wanted to start something because I knew I wanted to keep podcasting. I knew I had to keep podcasting for some reason, and yeah, my numbers are small, but that's not how I measure success. I measure success by people coming to me and say, "Hey, man, I've been listening to you for a while, and I thought when you first speaking you were crazy, but now you make a lot of sense. And I've been listening to you for a while. I've been watching your replays and this and that. I get a lot more people watching my replays than I actually do on live shows. I get
Yeah,
three times as many people watch my shows as to live shows. But it's it's not a thing where you're gonna make we're not gonna get rich off of this. There's
no,
we're not we didn't do this to get attention and oh look at me, look at me, look at me. We did this because I'm speaking for myself. Is that I felt something in my gut. I knew something was wrong. I was asking questions. I was still looking for some stuff, but I was just bouncing off the cave walls, not really knowing which direction to go
right,
and this is until the moment when I was in my detox. All right, I had you have your moments of clarity when you're detoxing. I was and then detoxing from the news. Okay, detoxing from the news. I was also asking the creator. I've done a lot of research. I've done my thousands of hours of research on various topics as well, and I've yet to find out what's really going on and the deeper questions. I was like, I was like, I seriously dropped my knees. I'm like, I don't know what is true and what's not true at this moment. Please give me something. And it was a few days later, I was given the gift of discernment. And it was just like that. I mean, because I came honest, I came true to the creator. I was like, hey, listen, I don't know what's right, what's wrong, because a lot of the information, they're sounding so close together. They're sounding very, very similar, and it's hard to tell. And so, when you do that, when you humble yourself, and then it's a gift. I didn't have it before, and now I have it, and it's kind of it's kind of like a double edged sword. It cuts both ways, but not in a bad way. In a good way, it cuts off your ability to stop wasting all your energy on other stuff that doesn't matter because you can see it right away. Then you're like, okay, I
yeah,
can see this pattern, and this is what's going to happen in a couple months, and then lo and behold, the thing happens, right? So now we're, excuse me. Now I was left with the how do I use this for good? And then when I realized when I started coming up with Exit the Cave and stuff, I was like, this show is not for MAGA. This is not for Q. This is for the people who are questioning the light source, who are questioning who else is what else is going on. And that's where I think it's at that niche right there. I think a
yeah,
lot of people are scared to do so. I think they're scared because the friendships they developed, maybe they've gotten married within this group. Maybe they've talked so much crap that they've gone so far. See, here's the thing too that this is a great analogy, guys. You're on a one-way street. Okay, this is how this is. I'm not sure this is how cult-like mentality happens, but I think this is how political cult-like mentality happens. Is that you're on a one-way street, full bore. You're good to go, but then over time, the street just gets a little narrower and a little narrower, and you don't know it yet. And you pursue it before you realize, oh, this is the wrong path I'm supposed to be taking. You can't turn around; it's too late. Why? It's because your pride and your ego has already taken hold of that, and so now you are identifying your it as who you are as part of this group. And so it's very,
right.
very difficult to separate yourself from that group, let alone break all the ties, and let alone break if you're getting lots of money from this, separating that financial tie as well. That takes a lot of moxie, and not a lot of, and we have a lot of cowards. We don't have a lot of people who have the cojones, the internal fortitude to step away and to do the very difficult thing, and to understand that all of the things that we've been taught were lies to us, to put us into certain boxes in certain areas, and to keep us in a perpetual state of fear, and to keep us in a perpetual state of questioning what is real or not.
I've run into people because of that interview. I've run into people that had already exited themselves, from their interaction with the charismatic evangelical world. One respondent was like, I know exactly what you were talking about. I lived in Oklahoma City for 17 years.
Enough
Uh,
said.
yeah, it was Tulsa. He was in
Oh,
Tulsa
that's
for
even
17
worse.
years. And so got caught up in that whole Oral Roberts, Ken Copeland community. And they understood what I was referring to about the authoritarianism of it, and that the journey out of that is no light work.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else was like, emotional damage. Yeah, that takes a lot of work. Been there,
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of support out there. There's a lot of people that understand that those who have made it out, those who have put in the work, have done a massive effort for themselves. Those who have put in the work and are willing to speak about it are
That's
the ones
that's the
that those
thing.
are the
That's
ones.
that's the thing
Those
right
are the
there. Yeah.
Because if there's anything that is really huge right now is the ex-cult community.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people from a lot of different angles that are talking about their experience having left leaving a cult, whether it's um, whether it's former JWs or ex Scientologists or ex Seventh Day Adventists, or it doesn't matter. It
Right.
doesn't matter. It's it, and then there's Shalise Ansola at Cults to Consciousness. That's like a central hub. She'll talk to anybody about their experience leaving a cult. What was it like in? How did you get out?
Mm-hmm.
And then I love how she closes her show, because you remember that toddler. Listen, Linda, listen.
Linda, listen.
That's what she uses for her closing thoughts. You have your listen, Linda moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's how I actually wound up with that T-shirt. Fuck you, amen. Because it's got a big smiley face on it too. I picked that one because grew up with a hippie mom in the early days.
Right.
But this one girl, her listen Linda moment was, it's okay after you get up from your knees and saying your amens and then saying your fuck yous to everybody that hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. As follow up on that was when you're leaving a cult. Yeah. So it's
Um.
cults to consciousness. There's a lot of people doing it. There's a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
High demand organizations.
Right. And
Uh,
and I, and I think it's
and
important.
Shalise has even actually talked to somebody that left a high demand organization that was actually a multi-level marketing group that was a splinter off of Scientology. And no, it wasn't Grant Cardone's group.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
But
Part of. Oh,
cults
go ahead.
cults can also be a brand label. You can sum it up with a brand.
Mm-hmm.
How many guys have you seen get into a fight over my Chevy truck's better than your Ford truck? No, my Ford truck's better than your
Well,
Chevy truck.
like the football teams. All right. If
Yeah,
you can
or
do, break it down to simplicity of just the damn football teams, and
it's tribalism.
oh, absolutely. I did want to get this link that I sent you. I want to get it going in my. I'm sorry, because I
Right
want I
on.
want to I want to share it with people. That's why, and I wanted to make sure that it's in my history because I was scrolling through there trying to find it. I guess I couldn't find it, but I will now. Um,
You're talking about
what?
the Leaving MAGA link?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah. Go ahead and drop that if you would, and then I'll copy and paste it to the other places as well. Um, the thing is it's okay to leave a political movement. There's nothing wrong with it. I highly encourage anyone out there to consider it. All right, but what where I want to, you emphasize this too already, Gi, is the is that at first it may seem scary to walk away from the group, but it isn't scary. There's a lot more people out in the wilderness than you think there are. There's a lot more people outside the echo chamber than you think there are. Because when you're in the echo chamber, you can't really hear anything. You can't, like I said before, you can't hear yourself think. You can't hear any different dissenting ideas. Everything just sounds very, very similar. Those people, and I've done this before, those people who have been thinking a certain way over here, and they've talked about stuff, and they've learned information, and now they're here, and they're still continuing on their journey, and then they're going to be over here for maybe in a month or whatever. But the journey is continuous, and I think it's important to like we said earlier is to highlight those people who have, and say, hey, you know what, this person was over there, they came to me privately, and now I'll say this privately that they're now in a different area of thought. Let's just put it that way, and that to me has happened several times. People come to me privately saying, hey, holy shit, what you were saying, I've been saying for a long time is true. I just didn't really want to believe it. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but and those are private when they message you privately. But when it comes up in chat and say, hey man, you're right about this or X, Y, and Z, it's not that I'm right. It's not a ego boost saying, yeah, I'm right. Look at me, I'm right. No, it's a good. You recognize where I'm coming from now. Now you see it from my perspective, and now we can go forth and have a better conversation. That's the thing. And is that the YouTube video?
Oh no, that's what you want. Let me
Yeah,
go
I'm
and
sorry.
grab.
Yeah. Those links are fine too. I have no problem with that.
Let
Yeah,
me get that
I
for
want to show people so that they have another reference of a place where to see where you're at. And like I said before, I did drop your link, your YouTube video up top. Oh, no,
you.
it's
Okay.
up in the chat somewhere. So just scroll
And
up in the
so,
chat,
so
guys.
you, so you, are you wanting my channel link then?
No, no, no. That video where you were on with the guy from Midas Touch,
All right.
and I,
Yeah.
I thought I had it relatively available, but I guess I don't. It's somewhere in my history of watching stuff. I've got so many files of folders that I put videos in. I'll watch like 10 minutes of video. I'm like, I gotta watch that later, so I'll just drop it in a folder somewhere, and you know,
Yeah,
you know how that goes.
in 5 days it's picked up. It's got 251,000 views and over 2,900 comments.
That's awesome. Second fiddle. I was just amazed how fast your best buddies turned on you when you questioned anything Trump or MAGA. Are you talking about like me personally, second fiddle, or are you just is this something like are you talking to somebody else in the chat here, or are you just saying in general? Because it's in general it is. It's true. It's how they've turned against you very very quickly without and here's gosh dang it if if some of these Christians ain't a bunch of hypocrites. All right, what really kind of gets my buggered is that they read the Bible, they follow it. What are you supposed to do when you have a problem with another Christian? You're supposed to go to them privately, right, before you bring it to the church, or bring it before the pastor, before the church, the congregation. Well, you go them privately, right? The people who supposedly top Christians, who are supposedly the gatekeepers or whatever,
Right.
who consider they used to call me friend and brother and shit like that. Bunch of fucking words in my book, because they didn't come to me privately asking, "Hey man, what happened? Like a couple months ago, you were right with us, and now like you're not. Like what happened?" There was no that concern. There was no that connection. That's why when I hear that kind of shit, oh yeah, but everyone's a bunch of fam, and I'm thinking, yeah, as long as you believe what they believe, then you're
Right.
accepted into the cult. But the
Right.
moment you
Well,
stop thinking the way they think and start questioning the official narrative, holy hell is going to break loose. Because again, like I
Yeah,
said, you're now with like religion. When you start questioning people's religion, they take
right,
that personal because it is a personal thing to them. Same way what they do on the political spectrum. They've religious lie. They've not religiousized. That's not even a word. But they've become massive political zealots without them even really recognizing it.
right. Well, and this story of being attacked as you're on your way out and it costing family and friends, it's all across the board. I mean, MAGA Whisperer, he talks about that all the time, you know, but he's a content creator on YouTube and he's got this puppet, uh Delbert something. I forget Delbert's name, but he's the Delbert something something the third junior, and he's this MAGA character. He's got yellow snaggle teeth and a cigarette hanging out the corner of his mouth and a red MAGA hat. He's got a Trump puppet. He uses a lot of puppetry, but he was United States Air Force for 31 years.
Oh wow, that's a
He went.
good dedication.
He made tech sergeant in the Air Force before he went Mustang, and he retired as a light colonel with a line number for full bird at 31 years. He's like, I'm done, I'm done. But in his backstory, he would set up pyrotechnics all around his yard with these detonators and shit. He'd like do this whole cosplay role playing thing. And Antifa approaching Sector 4 on the perimeter, and he detonate some fireworks, and people were just fucking loving it. And he rigged up his
That's funny.
car all James Bond, and people were just loving it. He was never full MAGA, but he was definitely MAGA adjacent, and he was like a celebrity. And then he walked away, and it cost him a lot of friends and family. And but he was gathering facts and showing people, look, you're talking about your friends are over here talking about how people shouldn't have brown wives, and yet they treat you like they're your best friend, and you've got this Filipino wife. What's going on here? Just pointing out the duplicities within his own community, and yeah, yeah, it got hostile for him because he was working he was talking to people in his physical community.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah, it is.
one thing I'm just I know, slightly off topic here, but it just dawned on me because I put this in a chat earlier, like Monday or Tuesday, and I just kind of forgot about it. Watching this whole ice thing in Minneapolis, all right, I've noticed a trend where remember when MAGA the general consensus with MAGA was like don't engage with the left because they're gonna try and draw you in to a fight, so just be patient, step away, don't give them what they want the violence, don't give it to them.
That
and
was
and
not
that
my
and
experience.
and now right now it's just flipped. Now in this administration it's okay, like now they want the violence, now they want the pushback. And it's
Right.
like under
You
what
see,
under how much of a pushback do you guys want? And I also, and on top of this, last year when I was on PTP podcast and Spaz Oyeti was in the chat, I asked the question, "What is mass deportation going to look like?" And as of right now, it looks like the shit going on in Minnesota.
right, right. But as far as like that interacting with the left and then wanting violence, dude, dude, they were scared of me. I had to prove to them that I am a peaceful individual that just isn't willing to put up with any bullshit. I had to prove through my actions. They were scared of me because of where I came from, because
Who
they're
was?
that passive.
Who the left
The,
was?
the left people, the lefties that I came into contact with,
Oh, okay.
we're talking extreme pacifists. I'm like willing to be a speed bump in front of a vehicle pacifist, like not fight back. I'm a veteran. I can't wrap my head around. I still can't wrap my head around that.
No,
But,
I can't imagine.
but, I will say that the events that have occurred over the last year have caused a lot of these people to grow in their own personal convictions and resolve and get introspective and actually take deep inventory and account of themselves and figure out where they're willing to go. And this past Sunday, a good friend of mine who a year and a half ago thought I sounded like fucking Alex Jones when I started screaming warnings about Project 2025 told me straight to my, he looked at me and he's like, Jerry, I am so glad I met you.
You know, walking away, um, from the MAGA, from either political extremes. Okay, because I'm pretty sure that the principles apply with people on the far left who became more central or more conservative, I guess. And because if it happens to one side, it's got to happen to the other. It just has to,
Right.
because there has to be a balance. One thing that I've found out is that um, my my compassion for human life, just in general,
Mhm.
has skyrocketed
Oh yeah.
since I've walked away, because I'm no longer dehumanizing half of the population, which I was brainwashed to do so. And so
Exactly.
now
Yeah,
now I'm looking at them
that's key
as a
words.
person, not as somebody who identifies as a lesbian and they're on they're in
They're
a
human,
left or
right?
whatever. They go to this church or whatever it might be. It doesn't, that
Or maybe they don't go
that
to
shit doesn't
church,
matter. That doesn't
right?
fucking matter, because they're still a person, right?
Right.
So
I
go
I've
ahead.
seen I've seen enough pushback that I've seen the people that are pushing back emboldened enough that in the Twin Cities up there in Minneapolis, there's this thing going on, right? There's these people that don't like what the government's doing, and the government's using force to push back.
Hmm.
And there's this journalist there. He's wearing this respirator mask, right? Because there's so much chemical irritant in the air. And this little old lady, she's 70, 75 years old. She's been to a lot of marches, a lot of different protests. And she walks off the front line and she's got her scarf and she's just like wiping at her eyes. Dude, this old lady was laughing and during the conversation, and she just took a straight hit directly to the face with pepper spray by ICE. And she's laughing at ICE about
That's great.
it.
That's great.
They're
Yeah.
not trying to fight you back. It's like there's reasons why people are calling the ICE the Gestapo. And quite
Yeah.
simply, if you don't want to be called the Gestapo, quit acting like them. Oh,
Well,
and on that, maybe Mr. Bavino needs to change his fashion a little bit. Have you noted that jacket he's wearing?
why all I have when I hear jacket in the government, I just my mind immediately goes to Cash Patel and his medium-sized jacket he has to have with the proper amount of patches. That's where my mind goes now, because I've lost so much credibility toward our own government, that when I hear an FBI director saying he won't get out of the fucking plane because he doesn't have a medium jacket that has patches on both his shoulders, get the fuck out of here. All right? I mean, seriously, it's like, go away. It's
Oh
like, what are
well.
you doing, midget? You're a small guy. No wonder why no wonder why you look surprised all the time.
Somebody's dug up some old footage from when Christy Nome was governor, and she's doing cosplay. And in one commercial, she's playing a dentist, and in another commercial, she's like playing a cowgirl or some shit. I don't know. So she's
Yeah,
apparently
the
got a
ice Barbie,
cosplay
as
fetish.
she's called.
Yeah, apparently she's got a cosplay fetish.
Well, it's obvious, and
Not the fetish, not the fetish shame, but she's doing it on our
well, I
dime.
mean, and not to
She's doing it on
mention,
our dime.
yeah, it's right. That's exactly right. She's putting on these displays on our dime, and so like I want to reference what's going on. We're all mad. Welcome in, Dark State. There's a video I want to show it because it was sent to me. I need to put it into a show lineup where there was a breakdown of this guy broke down because he does all the gematria stuff, but he's not a cute person. He actually he speaks sense, and he wrote down all the 33 references and the initial with Renee Good, the initial shooting right after it happened, it got released, and we saw the AI footage that had no snow on the streets, and then the other
Yeah.
footage that we saw that had snow compacted on the sides of the streets, and all that kind of stuff. But it's very. I'm gonna have to when I do, I'll find you on Rumble and I'll send you the link to the video when I find it again. But
All right, cool.
it was really it's like an hour long, but it's really cool because you think about, well, hold on a second here. I remember watching videos first, about 10 years ago about this type of referencing, and then now all of a sudden, like the main people who are still within the MAGA and Q movement, they don't do any of that anymore. They don't
Right.
they don't sit and say, okay, let's break down the scenario. Like for example, the Charlie Kirk thing. How many 33s were associated with that?
I
I
don't
mean,
know. I don't know.
I, I, I
Charlie
saw
Kirk
I
was
saw a breakdown
murdered.
of
It
that
was
too, and it was insane.
horrible. And I was like, I saw people just like running all kinds of different analyses. I'm just like, the dude got murdered. It was horrible. I don't know who did it. I would like to see an investigation done, but this is not how we do it.
You're not going to see an investigation.
No.
Not with this FBI. No, not with this. See, this is how I look at it. The deep state didn't go anywhere. It just changed faces. People. That's what you need to recognize. And the fact that Dan Bongino is left got. First of all, what did he do? Did he arrest anybody? Did he put any? Did he put anybody in handcuffs the year that he was in the FBI? No, he didn't. He helped cover up an international pedophile ring that our government is covering for. That's what Dan Bongino did. And now what he's going to do? He's going to come back to podcasting and do what? Gatekeeping. I even read one of his tweets. He
Oh,
said, "Oh,
oh,
gatekeeping is absolutely going to occur." And in his entire rhetoric, I'm like, okay, now we see that one of the top people who are gatekeeping, one of the heroes, one of the superheroes that are being worshipped. Now we're going to see his followers start rambling off the same fucking rhetoric.
now that's actually an interesting power shift that we should take a look at, I think.
It's not going to work.
No, 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 it's not going to work. But as far as how that power dynamic was set up and how it changed,
I mean,
because there's
the, the,
there's an angle that I'm not hearing.
I
So
mean, the
we got Cash Patel and Dan Bongino put in there, right?
right.
There was another character that was slid in to help to be the co-assistant director of the FBI next
Is
to Bongino.
um. Uh,
Andrew Bailey. He was the AG for Missouri.
yes, that was like that's. I know the. I was
And
like
now that
I've seen the actual guy in my state. So yeah.
Bongino is out of the way, Andrew Bailey should be the full assistant director. If Cash Patel gets ousted, our former AG, who leaked transgender health records that had been collected from Washington University, is going to be the new director of the FBI.
So here's what I see. Currently they're going after the immigrants within, but here's some stats, and you guys can go look this up if you want as well. Um, and probably some of you guys will actually agree with this. You've probably heard the same thing. Is that the amount of people that were deported by this administration is on track to be less than what George W. did in his entire administration. We're on track right now to be less than 5 million people deported. And we're been told anywhere from 20 to 30 additional million people came into the United States. And, but understand, we were also told that they're only going after the violent criminals. But then what did we see? We saw them going to court hearings where people who were being arraigned to have legal status. You saw people at Home Depot. You saw work construction sites. All of these people are working. All of these people are paying taxes into our country. All of these people, yes, they may have come over an imaginary line, which I'm still struggling. I'm still struggling with that a little bit, but they're people who are contributing to our society. If they're at a
Right.
work site, they're not selling fucking drugs. Are they on a roof? You can't be a roofer or a lumber or a laborer and be tweaking all the time, especially at the speed at some of these houses that go up, and some and
Right.
the crew that the 7-man crew, 8-man crew that is there. You can't be on drugs and be that fast and be that consistently accurate with your nail strikes and everything else. You can't.
No.
If you can
It should
try it
require
maybe when you're
focus.
young, but maybe for a couple days, you
Yeah.
can't. It's impossible to do so. But it just go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're quite right though. Um, but yeah, on the deportations thing, if they were to get that like okay, like you were saying, the financial impact. I mean, Missouri is looking at removing the earned income tax or income tax, right? But that's like 80% of our or 75% of our budget intake. Our state is going to be screwed if that happens. But looking at the federal government or even just regions, if you have a high non-white population that gets deported, what does it look like to remove 30% of the economy, production,
Right.
consumption?
Right. Well, that's
What does it look like to remove 30% of the economy?
well, when some of the big hotel executives and restaurant executives came and talked to when they were obviously contacting Trump some way, shape, or form, because at first it was they're all got to go, every single one of the sons of bitches have got to go. To well, I think we need to keep the hotel workers and the farmers and the people who work in the
Right.
restaurants. We got to keep those people. They're essential. But the rest has got to
Whoa,
go. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, at what point when you have immigration, customs, and enforcement, at what point does their jurisdiction because we're gonna have this conversation is being had and will be had in the courts. Where does their jurisdiction end and start? Because in the state of Missouri, their jurisdiction ends as soon as they cross the threshold of my window in my vehicle.
right. Well, that's true too. But just yesterday, an interfaith group got together. There were Christians, there were Catholics, there were Jews that were all there, and they spoke out together to the local police forces about uh, complying with Missouri law and not assisting federal agents. And a couple of the police departments, Ferguson included, released statements. In accordance with Missouri state law, we will not aid federal immigration agents. This is the policy as established by the state. And
Well,
it's like,
well, each state is supposed to be a sovereign country in itself, technically.
right, technically. And whatever happened to that, let the states decide. Oh, wait, that was
Well,
just
when
on
it comes
abortion.
to AI, we definitely have no jurisdiction there. So,
Oh.
but
Yeah,
anyways,
let's not get into that
yeah,
nightmare.
that's a whole different conversation right there. Exactly, exactly. All right. Well, I tell you what. Do you have any other words of wisdom you'd like to add?
It is a beautiful day not to be in a cult. And the easiest way that I found to get out was to ask questions, including questioning the answers that I found.
Hmm. I can agree with that. I definitely agree with that because I'm going to go ahead and open up
All right.
the chat here. You can leave or you can stick around and answer questions if people got questions for you, or to contribute to the conversation. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if they're going to continue with this one or if it's going to go to a different direction altogether. Um,
Well, I'll hang
so
out for a little bit. I'm going to mute up my mic and blank out my camera. I need to go take my bedtime meds and get that whole routine
fair
started.
enough. Fair enough. Awesome.
But
Awesome.
I'll be listening.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right, folks. Let's see here. Let's get this in here. This copy link. I'm gonna go ahead and pin this on the top of the chat when I can, and pin. That's pinned and pilled. There we go. Over on Rumble. There you go. And then on the other channels, so it'll pop up. Boom. There it is. So at this point, we can, in this particular format, we can either continue on with the topic at hand, or if you guys want, we can go in a different direction altogether. Like I said before, and what I've posted in my older dojo, the direction of the show is based off the guest or the conversation at hand. So, um, but yeah, so let's do this. We got Chops and we've got Salty just popped in. Welcome, guys. There's Chops.
Welcome,
See him.
welcome. Just adjusting my speakers so I don't flood everybody.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Chops on the panel. What's going on, Chops? How you doing, buddy?
I need to start out with a disclaimer and admission of guilt.
Okay, okay.
Last week when I said the coin was the half was a shekel and the other one a half shekel, wrong. My Yiddish was bad enough that I mistook a 70-year celebration coin as the shekel, but they both have the same or effectively the same image of Trump and Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
At least I didn't pay much for this, but it's quite a learning lesson.
Yeah, there is a shekel and half shekel coin you can get there at the temple to order through the government to get onto the property essentially. I mean, it's a they charge their own religious zealots to even go onto the Temple Mount. It's crazy.
Hey,
It's
Chops,
crazy,
just a
but it
quick
is a
question
thing.
about that.
It is a real coin.
A quick question about that coin there, Chops. When you bought that, did you get a free bowl of foreskin soup with it?
Tell me you got a lamp out of it.
At least
No.
a lamb. No.
No,
foreskin soup. All right, all right.
No fork.
no, but they wanted to sell. No, but they
You're
wanted to sell
missing
me hot
out,
dogs.
man.
It's very salty.
Yeah, they didn't want to sell me hot dogs.
Yeah, it's pretty salty.
Oh, sweet. So what's going on, guys? Chops, what's on your mind? Salty, what's on your mind? Chops, you go first because I saw you pop in first.
Well, the biggest thing was to admit that I was wrong, and I told everyone the wrong thing last week. Because one of the first things you do when you make a mistake is you try to correct it.
Of course, yeah.
So there's that. And two, this is easy. It's just the golden one because it looks kind of gold. But if this was plate, you could see through it, see through the plating with how magnetic this little piece is. I could stick a magnet. If I had one handy, I could stick a magnet to it through the plastic, and it's just like.
So
So,
you
yeah,
end
hop
up
in.
getting a decorative piece, is what you got.
It is a decorative piece. They're relatively cheap. I mean, if you buy them brand new out of Israel for $25, so there's that. And the half shekels and shekels are really insanely pricey, and I can't get anyone who actually had one to tell me what their silver content is or what their gold content would be or anything like that. It's just they have some in there apparently, but they refuse to say. Which
So
means
did
that
the
if you find one
proceeds for the purchase price of that coin go directly to APAC?
no, they go to the Third Temple promotion fund.
Well, that's kind of what I mean.
No, yeah, but saying, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, no. It goes to an Israeli charity inside Israel, and that when they try and buy the red heifers or anything like that, they will issue more of them and sell them out to try and get money. So it's
Have you
and
have
they
you
do that
guys
with
heard
the
anything new on the red heifer situation? I'll be right back.
The red heifer was the ceremony was done last summer, and they were handing out ashes when they closed down Congress. When John's closed down Congress early, so they wouldn't take up the Epstein thing, and all the congressmen and state reps and state level people all went to Israel for a couple weeks instead of going to their districts. They were handing out ashes from that.
I wonder if Trump's going to use Chinese steel on that thing.
Wouldn't surprise me. We sold a bunch of the World Trade Center to them as scrap.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I've just
yeah.
been flooded with videos watching ICE just beat the shit out of citizens, regular, natural born American citizens, just beating the fuck out of them.
Or yanking him off his shift at Walmart, I think it was, or Target, and then leaving him bloody in the parking lot a few miles
I
away,
mean,
and just
there's literally no footage of them actually doing the job that they claim to do. It's all violence. It's
Yeah.
all,
And I think it's something like
I
I
mean,
think it's conditioning too. To be honest, I think this type of because think about it, they went from 4 to 5 months of training down to 47 days.
I mean,
yeah.
how
They
many
use 40.
times can
They say
you,
47 because Trump Trump is the 47th president, and so Trump wanted to have training down to 47 days. 47 days of training. That's
how
like
long can you keep it up with, oh, he's impeding a lawful investigation. Oh, how long did you
yeah you
keep that up until they
Well,
come to your town and take your neighbor out?
they look to me like they're doing a lot of the same things that the civil asset forfeiture squads run around do. Like that's
yes
the focus of there.
yeah they come at you with full battle rattle, decommissioned army vehicles and shit like that. It's this right here. This is a what we're seeing here has a lot of potential to go south very very quickly. Um, and I'm not saying it's going to. I'm saying there's potential there, because what's going to happen next? You've had one lady shot and killed, and clearly not from the from the video that I saw. Clearly not trying to run the dude over. But now it's being portrayed that, and before an actual true investigation could even could happen, you had Chrissy Nome, president and vice president, come out and say that this should be condemned and that they're supporting the ICE agent 100%, when the ICE agent clearly was in the wrong. And now that a second week has gone by after last week we talked about this, and this week I heard other larger content creators speak the same thing that I was talking about. Then I started doing some more research, and I found that other former MP military police officers, former actual police officers, former sheriff's department people, they all had the same thing. The training, even in the ICE manual, it says you never put yourself in front of the vehicle. So if they're, and this is the same training that I received as well, is that you never put yourself in front of that moving vehicle of a vehicle when there's an occupant in front in the driver's seat and the car is on. So I don't
Yep.
care. At this point, I really don't care what a lot of people say. From my perspective, my training, and the lack of training this guy received, and the fact that he was able he put himself, because he physically put himself in front of the vehicle on purpose. And these are immigration customs enforcement. They're not street police. They're not walking a beat. All right, they're supposed to be going
Yeah.
after people who are violating immigration laws, not just dispatching anybody who's in front of them.
Well, if you go with what they say, they're going after the violent criminal migrants, and
Yes,
that
yes,
has
a mother of
happened,
three who happens to
especially
protest and has some
yeah.
questionable Instagram photos about Charlie Kirk and shit. Yes, that person right there is a total domestic terrorist, and should be
I
dispatched in
mean,
a proper manner. Right? No, it's fucking ridiculous. Because
so watch that Jake
someone
GTV
like
one.
me,
He calls it out on there. It's super funny. It's Jake
Yeah.
GTV. He's like, "Oh, this is where all the illegal migrants are hanging out," and he goes on to a construction job or
Yeah.
regular business,
Well,
yeah,
into court or something
well,
like that.
yeah. But what you just said, Warriors, one thing that I was bringing up the very first day it happened is that uh, he put himself. He crossed the moving in front of a moving vehicle, was in front of a running vehicle with an occupant,
hmm
and a couple of weeks administrative leave is not going to correct that
no,
lack of
they're
situational
not even
awareness.
allowing a state investigation. The Department of Justice is not allowing a state investigation.
Right.
How,
And
so
because
what does that tell you, people?
they had their, it tells me they had their conclusion before they had their solution.
That tells me that this was this situation had been rehearsed, and they were waiting for an opportunity to do so. That's what it is, because you know what's going to happen next
Yeah.
is that this is going to be escalated. It already is escalated because they shot a teenager in the back when he was running away from him, and he was just there. They're pulling pregnant women out of their vehicles when they're just trying to move through an intersection, and so
Yeah.
what you're getting at, and I told this, I said this was a year ago. I said this was going to happen. I said, when the
Mhm.
question is, what does mass migration look like? And then what happens when you got these ICE or Border Patrol, whoever they were going to have at the time, go into these neighborhoods and pull abuelito, grandma, out of someone's house, and they beat her up or whatever, and they mistreat her, they remove her from the home. What's going to happen there? You're going to have some, and you do that enough times, and you start violating normal people's their constitutional rights. What's going to happen next? If they have no repercussion by law, if they can't peacefully give their grievance to the law or to the government when they're not taking it, they have the last step they have left is violence. And you don't tell me
Yes.
that there are any gangbangers in Minneapolis or St. Paul. I guarantee you there are. They're just waiting for their time, and I'm not manifesting this. I'm merely making an educated prediction that we are going to find in the near future, in the future sometime, we're going to find that some ICE agents roll in an masked gunmen. Okay, let's just call it what they are. They're masked because if I carry a firearm, I'm not allowed to cover my face. I was a federal employee at
Oh, I
one
don't.
time. Even then, it was we were not encouraged to cover our faces. All right, only if it was really cold
Yes.
could you cover your face. That was it. Because we didn't have like I carry a firearm on a regular basis. Some places I can't carry a firearm, and in my state, most every place I can carry a firearm because we're a constitutional carry state. But I can't cover my face. But we can have armed federal agents cover their face with no identification and start yanking people out of their cars. What the fuck do you think the people's reaction is going to be? If that happened to me and I was carrying my gun, I'm discharging it in the direction of that perpetrator. I'm being
Right.
honest, 100% honest. If I'm going through an intersection and I got a masked agent, someone masked with army with tactical gear, and they're coming at my door for no fucking reason, I'm shooting through my goddamn door at them because
Hey,
they're
warrior.
putting my safety into question when I did nothing wrong.
Hey,
But that
So,
warrior,
I,
it's just a weird thing that you can watch the TV pundits or the politicians that get some airtime, and you can listen to what they say, and then you can identify with what they show you. So you're getting the double, you're getting the audio and the visuals from them, and the videos that they want you to see, and they can call it ice that's got a special name, and you could say that it's got a certain description, but if you forget your past, then you're fucked, because it wasn't too long ago they were all just wearing windbreakers and driving regular vehicles. Now they're in these full on fucking militant garb get up with the
yeah,
best of everything. The most, I mean, you see them going through town, and you've got to be dumb if you can't say that we don't live in a police state. I mean, you got to
Uh,
not be watching stuff.
there,
well,
It's already here. It's
yeah.
there,
just not
Uh,
as massive as you think it has to be. Your perception of how massive, how populated it has to be before it's actually going to do significant damage. The damage is done.
um,
mm-hmm.
You signed off on it.
GI go
You
first
said
and then
it's
Chops a
okay.
second. Go ahead.
so the initial number that I remember hearing being reported of individuals they wanted deported was like 18 million, right?
I've heard anywhere from 10 to 20 million people.
I
So I
was
don't
hearing
really know.
18. I was working off the number 18 because I remember when that question first came up. I'm like, that's an awful big number. Let's equate that to the population of states. 18 million.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the entirety of the population of the states of Missouri, Maryland, and Wisconsin.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of
It's a
people.
lot of people if you think about it. Chops, go ahead.
One last thing before I hop off, kids getting ready to hop out of the bath, um, is that this past week the Supreme Court said that if police are doing a wellness check, they can go into your house and shoot you without ramifications,
Yeah,
Oh
kill you.
my.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that,
The, the,
so
the, the
once
cops now
that
have
percolates through,
yeah the cops now have almost full immunity.
yep. And
So it's
once
like
that percolates through some of these neighborhoods, where's that going to leave
What?
the rest of us?
Yeah,
at
exactly.
what point is our ambush is going to be laid for these people?
I don't know.
That's the
I'm
next step. That's the next progressive step is that you're gonna have some veterans, you're gonna have some gangbangers, some homeboys who are like, I'm tired of these fucking people taking my people. So let's just fucking shoot them now because they're
You
shooting,
remember,
they're arbitrarily shooting
I'm
people for no reason in the streets.
Corey,
I'm
you
hearing
remember when
calls
we were
for that.
saying that it's only a matter of time. The next administration, this is
Thanks,
going to
Chops.
come back
Thanks,
to
buddy.
bite them. It didn't even take that long. We don't even have the next administration in, and it's already coming back around to bite them. What they were cheering for, like, yeah,
Right.
deport them, get that ICE in there. And now it didn't even take that long. We don't even have the next administration yet, and it's already biting them in the ass. The police
There,
state is here before anybody else
one of the
gets
content
in.
creators that I follow, she works out of Portland, Oregon. She's got followers that listen to her out of Europe. And one of her European followers said to America as a whole, kudos to you. You've provided more pushback in a few months in this than most countries did in a few years because of the fact that Americans are not willing to comply with this fascistic authoritarian government. They've taken a stand quicker than the Germans did.
Yeah, I mean, but we're not burning our government buildings down yet.
No,
You know,
and that's trying to be avoided.
as much as
That
possible.
that's
That as
that's
much as
why
possible. Yes.
that's why up there in Minneapolis, that old veteran, old Vietnam veteran, hobbled up on his cane to this ICE officer. I think it was Bavino when he was walking by and called him a chicken shit coward fucker or chicken shit coward fuck. And then he went and hobbled back to the sign line on his cane and turned around and faced him. No fear. And then, like I told you all ago, there was that woman that took that shot of pepper spray to the face and she's just laughing about it, wiping her eyes. There's people out there that are willing to take whatever damage is required. An example that's been set was a reminder of back to the 70s when there was the AIDS protests. The individuals that had AIDS that only had a few months to live had less to lose, and so they were more active in the protest. And that's why on the left they're saying, even if all you can do for the resistance is show up and set up chairs for a rally, you're still contributing to the resistance. If you're able to go out there and stand out there at one of these protests with a sign, you can contribute. Or if you're actually willing to put your flesh on the line, like this Episcopalian bishop of the Archdiocese of New Jersey reminded his denomination of one of their bishops back in the 60s that actually put his body between a shotgun wielding enforcer and a young black activist and was turned into a martyr. There are pacifist preachers, there are pacifists out here that are willing to put their bodies in harm's way because of their love for peace. I don't understand that level of self-sacrifice for another. I'm more with you, man. I see somebody whooping up on somebody, I'm
Yeah.
going to intervene that way.
Yeah. Because
I'm going to respond.
that's just
I'm going
it's just
to
wrong. Yeah.
I'm going to respond in whatever fashion is appropriate on whatever level is appropriate, which is why I've got friends that are glad they know me.
Yeah. I don't have the whole philosophy of war in the garden just because it's a cool slogan.
Right.
You know, as if you guys listen to the song that Norm Alien Hayden server made for me, you know, I play it before every dojo. It's the last song I play, and you know, if you listen to the lyrics, it's true. It's like I keep my sword sharp and clean. I keep my armor shiny. Is because you never know when you have to go to war. You know,
Right.
my sword isn't just for clearing the weeds; it's also for fight. And
Right.
when I use it for fight, I'm gonna cut your fucking head off. All right, I don't want to see. Here's the thing: is that violence? I have a propensity to violence. Violence comes very easy to me. I mean,
Mhm.
very easy to me, and I have a very short fuse, and I know that, and so I constantly am working on that, and I don't want to be violent at all in any way, shape, or form, unless it's brought upon me or my loved ones. At that
Right.
point, I'm gonna bury you. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna see red, and I just go until you stop breathing. That's why I don't engage in a lot of like I've done a lot of like martial arts training, combative trainings in the military, shooting and stuff like that. You know, in 2002 is the first year that they had the military mixed martial arts with the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and the Krav Maga mix. They taught us that. Then you had levels 1, 2, and 3 of combatives afterwards. In level 3, they teach you how to fight with a knife and wrestle with Krav Maga and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu with a knife in your hand, and then how to kill people. I got to
Hey,
that
that
level.
isn't that? Don't they just teach you that in the synagogue?
No, because because those guys, though, and that would be claw McGraw because they you have to grab the chickens by the claw and that's how you. So, but anyways,
Yeah, because
that's a
isn't
bad joke.
isn't isn't Krav Maga originally Turkish?
I don't remember. I don't know exactly where it came from, but I know that the Israeli IDF adopted it very early in their foundation.
Because it's a very effective hand-to-hand
Right.
combat
Yeah.
style.
It's meant to not dismember, but that's sorry. That's what I was taught is to do.
Right.
It's taught to disable the opponent quickly and effectively.
Mainly used on
Right.
women and small
I
children.
I
I don't have any respect for it at all. I've seen it.
At this point, it's usually used on children and black and brown people. So
um I'm sorry it was an ill-timed chuckle, but it's because what my girlfriend said in the background. She's only aware of Krav Maga because of 50 Shades of Grey.
oh, that's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. iPhone, Kristen, how you doing? Welcome in.
Hi,
What's going on?
I
How?
don't have much to say. It's just that um ICE hasn't come here yet, and the protesters are probably going to start in Winston-Salem because it's so big. I live in a small town. I don't see it happening here in Kernersville because it's so small.
Right.
But it's a lot of people here in a small town. But Winston-Salem is so huge. I can see it happening. The protesting and the violence and all that in Winston-Salem because it's so big.
Yeah,
But
they're
it doesn't have to hit your small town in order for you to know that it's out there and it's eventually headed that way.
or even even to affect your town. You know, you could have like if you live in even outside a major metropolitan area in a small town outside of 10 miles outside of town, we've seen this. We've seen protesters go into smaller communities, and we've seen those smaller communities completely reject those protesters as well. And I think that's if you have riffraff and they're trying to obviously they're trying to not protest peacefully, but they're trying to agitate. And it's pretty obvious those that are there to agitate and those that are not to agitate, and those are there just to observe. Those are very three distinct crowds, and
I
we've seen this,
I
and for a long time through the Summer of Love and other gatherings, we've seen that there are people who want to report what's going on, people who want to fight and agitate, and then people who want to peacefully protest.
Yeah.
Hey, who's allowed to proclaim that a certain group is designated as a terrorist organization. Who's permitted to do that and why?
Actually, that falls under the purview of Department of Homeland Security. And so they are able to set the criteria, which is what makes the concept of Antifa being an organization kind of silly, because it's not an organization, it's a mindset.
So how quickly
Oh
do you
yeah.
think?
Amy, my girlfriend, says she's on a watch list because she's been associated with the Quakers. Fun fact: Richard Nixon's mother was a Quaker,
I
a
knew
I'm just
that.
prominent.
I
saying
knew
that
that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
until we, the people, are enabled to have the same rights as our government, because they can claim a certain group as terrorist and we cannot, yet we
right,
are the ones that have to deal with them, not them.
right,
And
right.
I see nothing but problems coming because they get to just put out a tweet and then everything. That's the new standard. There you go. This is going to happen because I tweeted it. You know,
Right.
when the people, if you ask the people, okay, who would you like, American citizens? I bet I could put up a poll. And the top three that they'd like to take out probably would be ICE, politicians, and Jews, and I think in that order. And I'm sorry if that hurt your fifis, but that's what the American citizens on a whole actually would put in, and our government won't have nothing to do with none of those three choices.
Well, I would tend to agree with you on ICE being number one on the list for getting rid of. Number two, not necessarily politicians. Number three, I don't agree with at all. I would say number two would be billionaires. Make billionaires illegal would be the number two thing after ICE, because billionaires, they're running an technocrat oligarchy that's really screwing everybody.
That number three thing that you
But
denounced so quickly, I'm maybe me and you can have a one-on-one and I can hear some backstory on why, but maybe it's probably not meant for this public environment
that
here.
that's possible too.
I think you
But
can. I think you can agree with
I
this one,
would
Gi.
say
Hold
that
on.
from
I
my
think you can agree with this one. Is that the massive amount of influence Israel has in our government is a big problem.
right.
Okay, so
Well, okay, okay.
that's where I'm coming from, is that
Government. Okay,
we have an additional foreign entity who has time after time after time is consistently paying money, well, actually probably our money, to manipulate, to propagandize. They also pay. They have the whole thousand church pastors that
right,
Israel
right.
has now come up with, that they are now bringing
Well,
pastors over to
okay,
Israel to wine and dine them, and then they have hopes of
true.
having 10,000 more pastors do this. I mean,
Now,
so
now, now,
I guess
now,
what I'm saying is that the where I'm at is that the massive influence that Israel has toward our government and in our government is a big fucking problem.
oh yeah, I agree, and
Okay.
that's why there's a huge push from the left to support politicians that don't take APAC money. But as far as like people who are Jews in positions of influence, Stephen Miller is a Jew.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And you know he wants to do
if you're gonna
he wants to deport over 100 million people from the country.
if you're gonna aim at an ethnic group, aim at the members of the ethnic group that are on your side as well.
Well,
Now,
Wingnut, I have
if
to
we just want
say,
to call
over
out,
there in
we,
Gaza, with that whole Gaza thing, over
right,
70% of the actual citizens of Israel not only signed off on it, but voted for it, said, yes, I want them slaughtered. They're
right.
going.
Well,
Over
you
70%. And that's citizens, not political
that,
pundits, not
but now you're talking about Jewish Israelis.
Jewish.
That's no,
I just said
we're
the first word. You put any word you want behind it.
but
If
see,
you want to. take,
No,
filter them
because
in boxes and stuff. That's all you.
no. The reason I classify it that way is because they have a very distinct
People are sleeping.
characteristic to them that
Quiet.
can be isolated from an anthropological point of view. It's because of how their state has run their media and propagandized them.
Okay, okay. You guys can talk offline about this,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like I said,
because
this
because
probably
I do
it's
want to
probably
address
meant for a more
I
personal
do want to
thing.
right,
address the chat, and I want to always keep going back to the Jews on this one.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Go ahead.
right.
Sorry for the
let's see
stuff.
here. Let's see here. RM Steve, welcome in. By the way, I don't think I've ever seen you in my shows, but welcome in. He says, or she says, so all you guys are happy to have millions of illegals and no way to get them out. No, not at all. Not at all. No, I've simply asked the question. I did this over a year ago this is when Trump was still on the campaign trail. So a year and a half ago, I was asking this question: what does it look like to deport 20 million or 15 million or 18 million illegal aliens from our country? What is that going to look
Right.
like? Stephen Miller, who is I think is probably running the Oval Office right now. He wants to deport over 100 million people from this country. He wants to deport a third of our nation. That's who's whispering into Trump's ear. Now, the question is, I am more than willing to have the conversation of what does deportation look like. But so far, as of what we've seen, a majority of the people deported or have self-deported. They've left by themselves. I'm not seeing busloads of people going south. I'm not seeing, because if that were happening, we would see that, because the administration would definitely want to highlight that, correct? That look at all these people that were shipping out of the country, right? Or show us a website where the government is buying plane tickets to Venezuela, to Central America, to Peru, to not Peru, but to Panama, and Bolivia, and all these other countries that these people are coming from. We don't see that. We're not, and that's what I'm saying is that this no one on the MAGA side has stopped and asked the question: what does mass deportation look like? And as of right now, it looks just like what ICE is doing. Now, if there's other examples of what ICE is supposed to be truly doing and getting those illegals out, bring that information to the forefront. But I pay attention to a lot of them. I pay more attention to things than I should, and I have not seen. Again, I'm just one person, okay, but I haven't seen any of that propaganda we were seeing any of that journalistic action going on that we saw during the Biden administration, where people were down at the fucking border watching, videotaping the buses and the people on the planes that you can't track their FIN numbers and everything else. Where is that journalism to now?
Right.
That's where that's the thing too, is that there isn't consistency. So people are like, oh, what, are you just a Democrat now? I'm like, no, I'm not a fucking Democrat. I hold the feet to the fire if they're whatever politician they are, whatever elected official they are. But I don't vote, but I still hold their feet to the fire because other people have, and maybe they don't have the gumption to say what I'm saying, or do what I do. But the point here is that
Late.
it's like, are you going to take off? Are you going to take off, Kristen?
No, I'm
Okay.
just trying to keep my dog quiet.
Oh, okay. But so there's a whole point of what does deporting 15 to 20 million people look like? Does it look like the shit we're seeing in Minneapolis? Does it look like the shit we're seeing in Portland or in California or any other city that, Chicago? They got kicked out of Chicago. What is it going to look like? Because right now, what it looks like is if you get any way, or if you speak out against this government in any way, shape, or form, they're going to either shoot you, arrest you, and beat the fuck out of you. That is what's happening. All right, I watched a guy get tackled, and then a ground pound technique, which I was taught, and how to subdue somebody on the ground, which is when you have them on the ground and if you're in a proper position, you can knee them, take your knee and jam it in the top of their fucking head as hard as you can. That's supposed to disorient people. I saw that happen 3 times right in a row. Bam, 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 to a minor. So don't tell me. I don't want to hear people all this high and mighty, this big moral horse here about oh, well, you want a bunch of illegals in there?
No,
Wrong answer. Wrong
there,
answer. First of all, come correct and understand where we're coming from. I asked a
right.
question a year and a half ago. What does it look like? And now we're looking at what the answer is. This is what we're
Yes.
looking at. This is the reality that we're facing right now. Is we're facing what the ICE is doing in Minneapolis. Except that type of behavior also wants to go to all the other cities. Go ahead.
I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I got to have her at the church house at 7.
All right, buddy.
Choir, she music director, choir director up there. She's got bell choir and all that to
Oh, I
organize
get
in
it.
the
Sundays are
morning.
busy for you guys. I appreciate Wingnut for
Yeah,
your time tonight. Amy, thank you very much for letting them be here. I do want to get Amy on here and to talk about something that she's involved with as well.
we'll,
And
we'll have to do
if
that.
she wants to, that's I don't want to pressure her, but
The timing tonight is not good.
that's fine. That's fine. No big deal. It's fine. It's no big deal. But I do appreciate you being here, taking the time out, all that kind of stuff. Let's keep working on stuff together.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely,
and because
definitely.
I think with your research and my ability to articulate points and to have panels like this, I have all the technology to have large panels like this. I think we can do something. I don't know what it is, but I just like when you sent me that video, I'm like, dude, this is a movement we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be doing something,
Right.
and not in a bad way, and more of a different, not a different alternative, because we're given the one or two, A or B.
Right.
That's
Right. And that
we have more
and
choices.
Laura over at Magical Mystery Church,
Hmm.
the gal that taught me everything I know about Alice Bailey. She reached back out to me on one of my posts, so she and I may start working together again too.
Cool, cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm all about it, man. Let's get some nonsense untangled and get some truth put together.
yeah. That'd be
Good.
that's untangling is the correct terminology, I think.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, but all right, man. You and Amy have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Thanks for having me around. Y'all have a great
Absolutely.
night.
All right, good night.